Koh Samui, a tropical paradise in the Gulf of Thailand and the most prestigious of the kingdom's islands. Picture-perfect white sand beaches and crystal clear waters greet owners and visitors as they arrive into one of the world's most charming island airports. Propelled into the global spotlight by HBO's The White Lotus, filmed on location at the Four Seasons Resort, Koh Samui has shed its backpacker past to redefine itself as a bastion of upmarket wellness and high-end living. Today, the island is a premier destination for luxury retreats. As well as pristine coastal resorts, the island is also synonymous with stunning sea view estates and infinity pool villas, making it a hotbed for events, weddings and social gatherings of all descriptions, and that is driving demand year-round. Yet beyond the Hollywood glamour lies a sophisticated property market that is increasingly catering to those looking for more than just a holiday. It is becoming a permanent home for the world's discerning elite. And whilst the island received its highest number of visitors in 2024-25 and demand for extended stays increases, notably from European guests, the island still feels elusive and alluring, simultaneously aspirational and reassuringly expensive. But is all that about to change? Hello, I'm Benarr, and on this episode, I'll be talking to residents, experts, and investors to learn more about the benefits of owning property here in Koh Samui. Let's be honest, if you're considering buying real estate here, it's almost certainly for lifestyle, albeit in a place with some pretty solid macro fundamentals, such as demographics, supply and demand, and infrastructure investment. If you've visited Samui before, you know it has some magic, and if you haven't, you'll realise when you do. And so, does all that magic, mystique and macro momentum parlay the island into a prime property investment prospect? Let's find out on to buy or goodbye. Before we meet our local heroes, let's have a little look at Samui by numbers. Firstly, the island itself, and then those all-important tourism figures. Samui is 228 square kilometres, roughly the size of Edinburgh, but with less people and more palm trees. The island itself is best described as having a mountainous jungle core surrounded by a coastal ring. The 4169 coastal road effectively circles the island. Home to 34 distinct beaches, including some delightful secluded bays and coves. The highest peak sits at 635 metres above sea level, Khao Pom Mountain, where you can see the Gulf of Thailand expand before you. The island is therefore separated into a bustling coastal fringe and a protected jungle core, dividing the island into distinct lifestyle zones that shape where people live, invest and buy, with greater density to the north of the island and greater seclusion in the south. Samui's economy, unsurprisingly, is almost entirely dependent on tourism, with figures from a number of sources collectively putting the figure at over 90%. Looking at pre-lockdown numbers, the peak arrivals were in 2018 and 19, where combined visitors from both air and sea reached over 2.5 million. Fast forward to 2024 and those numbers have ballooned closer to 2.9 million, a near 15% increase that show no signs of slowing. Whilst figures for 2025 haven't been fully released, with 24 the highest figures on record, the first 4 months of 2025 show a 9% year-on-year increase from that peak. So, tourists are very important, not merely in quantity but quality too, as the figures released by the Bank of Thailand and C9 Hotel Works further revealed a 26% increase in tourism revenue and over 28% increase in average daily rates when compared to the before time. But this is all about experiential living. And whilst those very impressive tourist numbers continue to underwrite the island's investment appeal, it is the number of, and indeed calibre of, long-term international residents that is helping to reshape the island's amenities and services. Sam Bonnell runs the Samui branch of Lazuli and has lived on the island for more than 3 years. I started by asking Sam to describe a typical buyer's journey.
For people who are coming to live here, a lot of people will rent first. And what they usually realise is like renting in Samui is really expensive. And probably most people, it's a lot more than what they thought. So they might be thinking, okay, I'll spend £1,500 a month, I'm gonna have a beautiful villa. And actually it doesn't quite work out like that. So then people realise, the ratio between renting and buying, if it makes a lot more sense to buy, especially if you're going to be here for a few years.
Acknowledging that there is extremely luxurious properties on the island. Let's say an average property is a 3 or 4 bedroom detached villa. Give me the approximate price band that those sort of properties would sit in a reasonable proximity to the schools.
Sure. So it does depend a little bit on the ownership structure. Of course, you've got the leasehold and the freehold properties. So I would say you're looking at between 7 to 15 million baht. That would be a good price range for that, with the sort of below 10 being more the leasehold properties and the above 10 being more on the freehold, and then, depending on how much land you get. But yeah, there's a lot of properties available in good locations around that price point.
Approximate yields, what sort of yields would you quote for people that have got long-term tenants?
Sure, so if you're looking at the price point that I mentioned, the 8 to 15 million baht, receiving an 8% net return is me being pretty conservative, to be honest with you.
What are some of the positives that people don't expect on the island, and what are some of perhaps the pitfalls that they might not have expected when they get here? So pros and cons, if you can give some balance.
Yeah, so I would say a lot of people, especially if they're not, again, depends how familiar they are with Samui, but a lot of people probably don't expect that there are so many international schools. They don't expect that, they do have international standard hospitals, and you've got a shopping mall, and you can find pretty much any cuisine here as well. But then, of course, people, if their expectations were of a really small paradise island, that it might be busier than they expected. There is some traffic and things like that. That just comes with it.
High single-digit yields as a conservative estimation. Not bad for a lifestyle asset. He's a good man, Sam, and if you're looking to buy here in Samui, I'd recommend you speak to him. Now, as you may know, we love pies and acronyms on this show, and today that pie stands for population, infrastructure and education. As far as the P goes, Samui's permanent population sits at around 70,000, with those numbers swelling when tourists and seasonal workers are mixed in. Our I for infrastructure, what we might call Schrödinger's infrastructure, simultaneously represents the island's greatest risk and its greatest opportunity. There are significant projects in the pipeline that will see visitor numbers from air, land and sea grow exponentially. We'll be talking to the CFO of Bangkok Airways about their plans and hearing a few opinions about the proposed land bridge to the mainland. The new cruise terminal perfectly captures Samui's infrastructure paradox. It's backed in principle, but not yet approved to build, pending environmental studies and government sign-off. Slated for completion in 2032, it is a catalyst for a new era of ownership, unlocking a part of the island that has remained largely untapped until now. While much of the island's growth has been concentrated in the north, the focus is now shifting, with the Thai Board of Investment and Bangkok Airways backing a 12 billion baht international gateway at Lam Hing Kom. This underrepresented coastline is being repositioned as the new primary corridor for high-value development. Regarding our E for education, a significant stimulus for growth, the island currently boasts 6 international schools, all at capacity, that are shaping the futures of nearly 1,500 students from over 40 different nationalities. A quick glance at the tuition fees will reinforce the attractiveness of the island as a destination for parents seeking a private education for their children. As you can see, this isn't just a local school system, it's a global enclave that creates a permanent rental demand for 3 and 4 bedroom villas within the school catchment areas. For parents familiar with the UK, one could argue it's like getting a Harrow level education at a fraction of the UK price, with the added benefit of a tropical lifestyle. Okay, a quick timeout. The major buyers in Samui currently are French, German and British, with Americans and Aussies also in the mix. According to the AI gods, these are the average property prices for each of those countries. Keep that in mind as you consider what adventure you may embark upon next.
And whilst there are a range of curriculums on the island, there isn't currently an option for an international baccalaureate, IB, but one developer is looking to change that.
Untitled has been living in Koh Samui for the past 4 years. With a background in economics and a specialisation in financial planning and analysis, he's worked extensively with family offices, building portfolios focused on real estate and cryptocurrency. Here on Samui, his firm are developing a superb family-focused gated community, Banyan Grove. Over 3 phases, they'll be delivering 24 3-bedroom detached villas, all with a private swimming pool. Phase 1 is complete and occupied. Prices start from 12.9 million baht. We began by discussing where in the world their buyers were coming from.
So our clients are international, mostly European,
Yeah.
French, German, Israelis, Italian, by the way.
Primarily
Yeah.
families, do you think?
Primarily families. Well, it depends. And the end client eventually are families.
Yeah. Okay, because it seems there are 3 distinct profiles of buyers.
Yeah.
It's the active retirees.
Yeah.
It is the families looking for a different pace of life for their children to raise them. And then of course there are just the straightforward capital preservation, investment led, because despite it being a holiday island as such, actually the investment fundamentals are very strong, with demand seemingly higher than supply, infrastructure investment coming in here. So for people watching that are considering buying purely for investment, what sort of confidence or advice would you give them?
Especially in Samui, you see how it's evolving during the years. It's becoming more and more family oriented. I agree there are also many retirees over here, but you absolutely feel the evolution of Samui towards long-term expats or long-term or long-living families here.
Education is a major catalyst for
Absolutely.
people coming to the island. Tell me a little bit about your visions for that, if you can.
Absolutely. So first of all, that's a separate initiative.
Yeah.
It's absolutely connected under the same bigger picture of Koh Samui and especially of Lamai. For a family, for example, when you consider a place, you're not looking only at the property as a property. You look for the other facilities that you have, the other infrastructure that you have.
The community-centric aspect of
And
this.
school is one of the main pillars, and community is the main pillar. Also in our perspective, and also in my perspective personally. It's part of the lifestyle that you should have over here as an expat or as an expat family. I think it is very important for Lamai, and it's very important for Koh Samui for its growth. Today you have wonderful schools in Koh Samui. We are planning to open another wonderful school with our very ambitious, but I think it will be very rewarding for the kids and for the community.
Well, as we understand, I think all the international schools are at capacity or close to.
Yeah, the schools here in Lamai are in full capacity at the moment. This is what drives us to open that kind of school.
Tao's project has a superb location amongst those coconut forests of Lamai. And what a setting that would be for a school. I think the yields are quite conservative because Lamai has got excellent connectivity and it's a really strong emerging location. Now though, let's hear briefly from a man that can talk all about the benefits that an international island school provides.
Stephen Andrews is the CEO of the International School of Samui, aka ISS. With a diverse demographic drawing students from 34 different nationalities, I wanted to get some insight into the key differences between island and urban schools.
Well, obviously, a lot of it's the same in that you want them to get the best academic education possible. Now, for our school, we offer a British curriculum. But one of the things that perhaps we're different from an urban school is many of the activities and adventures they can enjoy here. For example, our school, our students visit the elephant sanctuaries. We're partners with them. We go every week, we help feed them, look after them, And we're a big part of that century. Urban schools couldn't offer a marine experience where our students go scuba diving.
Is the calibre of the curriculum going to be at the same levels that they'd expect in a major urban conurbation?
International schools are accredited by international bodies on their standards of education and provision. For example, our school, we are accredited by the Education Development Trust, which is worldwide. Our school, in its last accreditation, received a gold award. It received outstanding in 8 out of 8 categories.
So there is no compromise as far as parents are concerned. Far from it. So you guys are...
You can't get higher than gold, outstanding 8 out of 8.
Okay, well first of all, congratulations then.
Thank you, sir.
Manage your school.
Credit to our team.
Indeed.
And our students and our parents.
That sounds like a pretty inspiring school life, doesn't it?
Now look, if buying real estate here is lifestyle centric, it's about time we explored that side of the island, starting with everybody's favourite new pastime, paddle.
Lieke Lerougen is a bombastic Belgian with a passion for paddle and a devoted dad to boot. His kids are at ISS, Stephen is a member here. It's very much a community on Koh Samui.
And here we are. I mean, you've got a great club here. How many courts have you got here?
We have 5 courts, 3 covered. We're still not ready because, and we have here a spa with an ice bath. We have a sauna over there, and a massage over there, a restaurant, so people can really stay a couple of hours here.
So from that lifestyle, health and wellness aspect of the island, I mean, this is an ideal facility to have available.
Nice to hear that. And one of the most beautiful areas I always thought was Koh Samui. It has a special vibe, but it has everything what you need. There are 2-3 international schools. There are 4 or 5 hospitals, and there's a big padel sport community, and that's what I love, the combination. And for me personally, I've been always in the industrial business, food industry and pharmaceutical industry, and now investing in the sport industry, health. It's completely different for me, so I like it a lot.
The appeal of living in this place, I mean, I can imagine some people might think living on a small island, there might not be that much to do, but actually from a lifestyle and sort of activities perspective, there's all sorts going on here.
Yeah, we have here the best sport clubs, we have here the best restaurants, beautiful hotels, beautiful beaches, and still not too busy if you compare it, for instance, with Bali. You have even traffic jams with bikes. We're not close to that.
Is paddle becoming the new golf course?
It's the biggest competitor of golf. Yeah, for sure.
Business meetings are happening, social groups are gathering
absolutely,
here.
Absolutely.
And you got some skills on the courts?
I'm not bad.
Should we have a little go?
Yeah.
Whatever skills you've got, I've got less.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
No.
let's see how we go.
Okay,
come on.
I am clearly not a professional paddle player. Nonetheless, from pink courts to catamarans, Carl and Lynn left bustling Hong Kong to enjoy a more serene life down in Samui, running a yacht charter service as well as owning real estate on the island. I wanted to get their take on just what it is that makes Koh Samui so appealing.
Fell in love with it immediately because I just love the smallness of it. The fact that life basically exists all around the coast of the island. I just love Fisherman's Village. I like the yachting basin. I like the fact the airport is just a few minutes away.
Right.
And we just fell in love with it.
The supporting infrastructure here
Fantastic.
is superb as far as sort of health, wellness, rehabilitation, recovery, as well as the lifestyle elements that we're enjoying here.
And you know, the one wonderful thing about here is the fact that we're in the middle of Asia. Singapore is 120. Hong Kong is 3 hours, Bangkok 45 minutes. I mean, you can be anywhere very quickly. We bought a piece of land which we absolutely fell in love with. Carl is an architect, so him and his partners, they built a villa for us. They built a beautiful 6-bedroom villa, and then for the next, how many years? 10, 15 years, we were coming here on holiday.
You make that sound very straightforward. How would you imagine Samui might look in 10 years' time?
Provided that it's managed properly. It has the potential to just absolutely thrive.
Learning that Carl was an architect, I thought I'd take the opportunity to grab him aside for a couple of minutes and just to get a better understanding about the challenges and processes for designing and building villas on an island such as Samui.
Difficult to design a villa in the tropics that has durability in terms of both material durability as well as design.
Well, because what are the challenges? Because obviously, sea air and erosions, that can be a big factor.
Exactly.
Is that one of the sort of primary challenges you encounter?
Yes, exactly. We've used wood because it's exotic and it's Thailand. We've used some Lamai, Northern Thai style design so that you recognize that you're in Thailand when you step into one of our villas. I think people are in a hurry to build things here, and there's too many contractors that aren't experienced in the building trade.
So as ever, the main advice for buyers would be do your due diligence, make sure you've got the right sort of partners involved.
Exactly. Our villa is now nearly 20 years old and it stood the test of time. Sure, there's maintenance, but the choice of materials to start with, in hindsight, were correct and durable.
Now, what are the chances of two former BBC presenters washing up on the same island? Well, quite high apparently, as I caught up with one developer that does know exactly what he's doing, former BBC presenter and building expert Jake Robinson. Alongside his wonderful wife Renica, they've designed and built more than 40 luxury villas here since launching their company Koh Samui Construction in the early 2000s. I wanted to get his steer on typical timelines for building your own villa on the island.
If the customer comes and says, okay, we want this sort of land, then I'll ask my wife, because she knows everybody on the island, and she'll just speak with her local friends and say, right, have you got anything for this? And then yes, we go with the client, they look at the land, if they're happy with it, obviously there's due diligence done first to make sure everything's safe, you've got access, and hopefully electric and water there.
So assuming that's all good.
That can take 2 to 3 months.
Land, design, agreement,
Yeah.
construction starts.
Contract, construction, and then, so, I mean, and
With a fair wind, 18 months, 12 months?
so 4 bedroom villa, I'll get it finished for you 10 months, finished.
Great.
That's everything.
All right, well that's a good time. Look, we're gonna melt if we
Yeah.
stay here any
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
Let's get ourselves to this beach club and have a drink.
Yeah, let's
All
do
right.
it. Lovely, thank you.
That Samui heat is no joke, but the cooling ambience and ocean breeze at local beach club Chi is certainly something to experience. Part of the Clara Group, it is a superb place to while away your time with some outstanding drinking, smoking and dining options. We send best wishes to owner Koh Lam, who unfortunately was unable to meet us on the day. When it comes to buying villas, the Thai elephant in the room is of course the ownership structure conversation. Now, the most straightforward option is to buy a 30-year lease, which is like paying 30 years rent in advance, and then you get to use the property for the duration of that time. Creative alternatives do exist, but they do come with certain risks. Now, we will be speaking to the Thai Board of Investment and hearing about the provisions for property owners that they provide. But first, let's hear from a developer who may have just cracked the code when it comes to robust, transparent, long-term property ownership. Andy Moore has lived in Samui since 2004. He ran a successful financial services business back in the UK, which has given him an insightful foundation on how to fix the issues surrounding ownership. His agency, Samui Realty, have sold more than 200 villas on the island, whilst his construction company have built more than 60. Needless to say, he knows what he's talking about.
It's got 6 bedrooms, gym, lovely outside area, fantastic view as you've seen of the ocean. We're only 600 metres from the ocean. And underneath we had this kind of sort of cellar area, which we decided to go a bit James Bond with and throw in pool tables and bars and
It's very cool.
The only thing we didn't put in was a jacuzzi, but the space for one, so we could do that as well.
I then asked Andy about the challenges facing the island.
The biggest problem on Koh Samui is getting on and off Koh Samui. So flying here or getting off on a ferry, because it's just so busy. So the hotel's problem is there's only so many people who can come. So the bridge will help more people come. The southern part of the island is underdeveloped. This part of the island is overdeveloped. It probably spread development out more, but what I see is there'll be more development on the island, but development will move across to the mainland, to Sichuan, where the Thais are investing lots of money in infrastructure, and I think that will be a really great destination as well.
Do you think you'll find more longer term residents coming here versus this, because tourism's more than 90% of the economy as we understand, but do you think longer term residents will start to have a bit more of an impact?
It's a big part of the economy, but there's a lot of long-term residents here, and there's lots of long-term residents in Phuket, and more long-term residents now in Koh Phangan. So I think you've got a general flow of people moving into Thailand from Europe and other parts of the world. It's a great place to live for a number of reasons, for the Thais, for the food, for everything. So I only see more people moving here, and so yeah, I think you'll find more infrastructure, more schools, more hospitals. But Samui has all of that anyway. I'd rather be sick in Samui than I would in England.
We then got into conversation surrounding ownership. The fact is, as a foreigner, we can own leasehold. Owning freehold is challenging if you're a non-Thai. As a legitimate business owner, things are different. If you have a Thai spouse, things are different. But wherever there are rules, there are those offering to bend them in your direction. And this is starting to cause concern amongst freehold owners across Thailand that were assured they had full ownership rights when Thai law is quite different. That is where the better than freehold solution is coming to the rescue.
The biggest problem people have got here is certainty. So lots of people own property and they own it various ways, and some of them really ways they shouldn't own it, other ways where the contracts aren't enforceable, but that's only a problem if there's a dispute. But once you get people who know what they're doing and you have a lawyer come along and look at a contract and you're selling something, if it's not enforceable, someone's going to say, well, I can't give you this much money for it.
Yeah, because the cleanest way, of course, is you just do the 30-year lease, which is effectively paying 30 years of rent in advance on the property. But of course, we know certainly in the West, freehold is a coveted ownership structure.
Yeah.
And so what you're proposing is, I know the company is called Better Than Freehold, but it's a variation of, it's a kind of a lease freehold hybrid almost.
What it is a lease with options to have another lease and another lease and another lease.
So the timeline mirrors what freehold.
So basically you've got options to keep going, and those are agreed and they're enforceable. You've got an option to sell the freehold and share the profits with the Thai owner, and you get a majority because you put a majority of money in. And then the securitization allows you to finance that offshore. So you're not impinging on Thailand's law. Your trust gets the finance for you and you just bring it in here. It's like a normal mortgage, and you finance it offshore. So what we're giving people is certainty. When finance comes into a market, it changes the market dynamics. It makes things more liquid, it makes the market grow faster. So over time, and we're partnering with obviously Thai partners in Thailand, what we hope to do is change the dynamics of the Thai market for foreigners, and that changes the dynamics of the Thai market for the Thai developers who are selling to foreigners and condos, etc. So everyone wins.
Do you envisage, therefore, that there'll be a pretty high demand for an ownership structure like this, not only for new buyers coming in, but for incumbent owners?
Yes, definitely for incumbent owners, because the Thai government's clamping down on people with limited company ownership structures, which are essentially illegal. I think it's probably 200,000 of those in Thailand. So there's 200,000 people who've got to do something, and all the other solutions to saying, well, you're just going to have 30 years and you thought you were going to have forever. And our solution says, no, you've got 30 plus 30 plus 30 and the right to sell the freehold. And by the way, it's now more secure and you can get finance. So actually, you're not losing something, you're gaining something.
There is no doubt the Better Than Freehold ownership structure will be a game changer, not only for new foreign buyers coming to Thailand, but also for existing owners that have some uncertainty. The removal of risk, replaced with certainty, security and the potential for 50% finance would redefine both market liquidity and ownership options. Let us now hear from two of Thailand's leading lights in the ownership and infrastructure conversation, both of whom are a significant part of the Samui story. Firstly, the Board of Investment, who amongst other roles and initiatives are responsible for setting the policies and framework that support foreign buyers and business owners considering investing into the kingdom. Secondly, we shall hear from the CFO of Bangkok Airways and the role they continue to play in shaping and supporting the island's future. Kun Kantarot Laupradit is Director of the Expatriate Services Division of the Thailand Board of Investment. This was a lengthy conversation as we discussed visa options and processes. Whilst it's tricky to distill it into a bite-sized chunk, the main takeaway is that if you're considering moving to Thailand in any meaningful way, these are the guys to speak with.
The LTR is actually the initiative that the Thai government has started since year 2022 in order to make Thailand a stable long-term base for global investors and professionals. There are two types of the LTR categories that we want to encourage people to invest in Thailand in order to qualify. That is wealthy global citizens. So with that type, you have to have investment in Thailand of over 500,000 USD. Those investment, it could be from real estate investment, foreign direct investment, or Thai government bonds, or the combination of those three things. And another type, there is wealthy pensioners, where you can, choose to show your passive income, maybe from your investment portfolio, maybe from your rental property.
And what level does that need to be at?
Over 80,000 USD per year.
Where are they coming from internationally? Is it a pretty even spread, or is it, concentrated in particular countries?
Unsurprisingly, come from major countries such as the US, Western European countries, Japan, China, Australia, Canada, and Singapore. When it comes to Thailand, the advantage, our obvious advantage is that we offer a combination of everything, the business opportunities, tax competitiveness, the vibrant lifestyle, and of course Thailand's strategic location in the heart of Southeast Asia. Basically, with this increasingly volatile global environment, I think investors aren't just looking for attractive markets anymore. They're looking for a place where they themselves, the business, their capital can grow with confidence, because everybody is increasingly paying attention to one key factor: stability. And Thailand, I think, is the answer to that need.
I would say that sounds like a rather compelling argument. And now you know where to go if you have any questions. Now on to Samui's favourite airline, Bangkok Airways. Did you know that if you're a business owner or a property owner on the island, you can apply for one of their residence cards, offering some very attractive flight discounts to the mainland and the other islands? I met with their CFO, Konanawat, and we began by discussing passenger numbers and their expansion plans.
The passenger around 3 million passenger a year. We want to expand double to around 6 million a year.
Okay.
In the future.
And what sort of timeline are you looking at for that?
3 to 5 years from now. We are sure that with our expanded capacity, the surrounding, let's say hotel or the infrastructure are already developed alongside with our project development.
We then moved on to briefly discuss the airport's unique aesthetics.
So we have the open air gate with the landscaping, and we select the local and natural material to construct the airport terminal. So the environment around the airport is quite unique, but it's peaceful for the visitor to relax. We aim to renovate the airport with to be the green airport. We start our airport from the inception of the construction more than 30 years ago with this kind of concept already. It used to be Bangkok when the foreigner or the traveler travel to Thailand, they have to go to Bangkok and then connect to the other cities. But now many of the international flight, they fly direct to Phuket. So we offer the service to connect Phuket with the other cities in Thailand, especially Samui, Chiang Mai.
So, one final question to put you on the spot. If you had to choose between Phuket and Samui, where would you go?
Samui.
There we go. You heard it here first. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Carl.
There you have it. If it's good enough for the CFO of Bangkok Airways, it's good enough for me. Finally, let us retreat to a seaside estate owned by a Canadian couple, Carol and Manfred. This is pretty close to that beachside retirement dream many of us will have. I started by asking how they decided what to buy and where.
We had spent a number of years in Samui looking for a better property. You know, we were only renting, and then when we decided that we did want to have something for retirement, we looked at this beach. This beach we thought was ideal for what we wanted. Fresh water all the time, winds all the time, beautiful swimming beach, very safe, hardly any people. That's what we thought this is a place for us to build something.
I do want to say, Jonathan, we have been searching for replacement for Thailand. We've been to the Caribbean, Mexico, California, Malta, Panama.
South America.
South America. Nothing replaces Thailand.
The underlying thing here is it's a very safe society. You can leave stuff out on the beach, nobody will take it. You don't worry about any of that stuff. I mean, we're totally wide open. We don't have gates, and we don't have, it's something that we have seen versus other places, and we do travel quite a bit.
And for those viewers in North America, what's the journey like down to Thailand?
It is a long way away. However, the worst part about long distance travel is thinking about it. We leave about 11 o'clock at night, sleep on the airplane, and you're on the beach at noon, basically the next day. Of course, the services that come along with renting a villa versus a hotel room are very different. This is more inclusive. I think it's more private. If you're traveling with a family or with friends, you have your own environment that's exclusively for you.
How big a catalyst was the White Lotus in sort of re-establishing Samui on the international scene?
I
didn't hurt.
No, I think it was very helpful. I mean, when you look at White Lotus, it was just shot down the beach here. So
yeah, Four Seasons is around the corner here.
It was pretty nice, but I think it really drew out the beauty of Koh Samui, especially, but Thailand and the people. Samui, the stance is it will become the boutique island of Southeast Asia.
So then, Samui, what do you think? It's a fascinating island, and you can get into the market for as little as $100,000 and spend well over 10 million if you're so inclined. The social infrastructure is of a very high standard when it comes to hospitals, education and F&B, and coupled with a pipeline of significant infrastructure projects that really underpin the island's future growth. And so, in a market where you can live, buy and thrive, where tenants, tourists and long-term residents show an insatiable appetite for arriving, whether for retirement, to start a new life on the islands, or indeed as a standalone investment, when it comes to buying in Koh Samui, for me, it's most certainly a to buy.